The Willie Mullins Express will roll into Cheltenham this year carrying leading hopes for the Champion Chase and the Gold Cup, plus many people's idea of the banker of the week, Racing Post Arkle favourite Undersow.
He's been impressive everywhere except the day he made a novice mistake and fell. Huge cruising speed, jumps well. You know, he's going to be nail-biting to watch, I think. If he just meets the first right and gets confidence jumping, no one's going to have much say in what's going to happen. It's just going to be if he can jump. We'll see what happens. You know, he seems to have plenty of stamina. He just got a huge cruising speed. You never know. When Champagne Fever got beaten in that race last year, you never know what happens, you know, but he's certainly very exciting.
Yeah, he can fairly belt along, but he sort of finds a bit at the finish as well.
He does, you know, people, you know, jockeys have been telling me, you know, they often cruise up behind him thinking they're going to do this, that and the other, and he pulled out more.
Other novice chasers that are favourites for races over there, Don Poley is one that comes to mind. He's got a choice of engagements. You've got Voiture, Valser Lido, all exciting horses.
Yeah, like to me, Voiture for the JLT, Valser Lido for the RSA, and Don Poley for the 4 mile. However, as we said about Mr. Wiley's horses, and the same with Jigginstown, they've got other horses with other trainers who they want to put in different races, and it might not end up like that. They might prefer go the Valser Lido for the JLT and Don Poley for the RSA. So we'll see what's going near the day. But both Valser Lido and Don Poley looked to plenty of stamina for either option.
And Voiture started off brilliantly at Navan. Things haven't gone
exactly
as planned.
He wasn't right at Christmas. Took a chance running him, didn't pay off. He came back and won nicely the other day, but I still have to get him back to where I think he could be. I don't think I've got him near to where he was last year going to Cheltenham yet, but I've got plenty of time. We're looking at different options for her. You know, she could go to Fairyhouse. For the Power Gold Cup, she could go to France. There's a race or two in France for her. I imagine it'll be JLT or RSA if she runs in Cheltenham.
And Vroom Vroom Mag has looked pretty good since she's gone on the fences.
She jumps. She's got lots of things. Jumps. She's got stamina. She's got plenty of speed when you turn it on. She doesn't look the part. That's the funny thing about it. You know, she looks a very ordinary mare to look at, but she's got an engine. And there's a nice juicy race in Limerick just after Cheltenham, that mare's race, which would be probably one of the biggest mare's races in Ireland this year. And that is what she could go for and probably should go for, but however, we'll see what happens near the time.
Gold Cup, he went agonisingly close with On His Own last year.
Yeah.
You're going to have probably three runners this time?
3 runners. On His Own, who was second last year, both On His Own and Boston Bob. Boston Bob ran a good race in the Ryanair, considering he was going back without a run last year, and he fell in front at the last 2 years ago in the RSA. So that's good form. That means they both have chances. However, their last run in the Hennessy wasn't probably good enough to win a Gold Cup. Excuse me, but I think it's good enough for them to book a ticket to run in it. Jack Adams' form in Ireland has been very good this year. I think his run in the Thyestes, carrying top weight in those conditions, was as good a performance as I have seen from any chaser in Ireland this year, and he can only improve from there. And if he does, that'll put him right in the Gold Cup picture. Now he does have to. He probably has to improve a stone on ratings to be in the first 3 in the Gold Cup. But if any horse can, he's a young horse coming through. He's got everything. He was running some race in the JLT last year, coming down to the 3rd last, absolutely cantering when he fell. And I don't think he'll have those. You know, we asked him some really big questions. We asked him to do that off the back of 1 or 2 runs last year. He paid the penalty. We asked him to go to Newbury off the back of that fall. But we didn't know at the time we planned that we were going to have such a dry autumn, so we weren't able to train him properly, and we weren't able to get a run into him, even over hurdles. So they were two big questions we asked Jack Adam. I just hope, and looking at what he did in the Thyestes, I don't think we broke his heart on. I think he's just a real strong horse that's improving. I think he could be anything.
Just had the 2 runs this season, so there'd be good cause for believing there would be improvement. But anyway, concerned that he's only 6, and I think long run was 6, and then you have when he won it, and before that you had to go back to Millhouse, I think.
Yeah, you're probably telling me I'm asking him another stupid question, but we're here. We're you know, it's what we want to do. We feel he's good enough to take part in it, rather than go back, say, for the Ryanair or some, you know, we have a horse we think is good enough. We're going to take our chance.
Champagne Fever, very good record at the festival.
Yes, I mean, the obvious thing you would say after he'd win the last day, he'd probably go for the Ryanair. However, he's run 3 times at the festival over the minimum trip, only beaten on the last stride last year, minimum distance. So we're probably going to edge towards the Champion Chase. On the basis he's coming back into good form, he really enjoyed himself the other day. We might just change tactics for the Champion Chase rather than do what we did last 2 years. You know, you could say stick to the formula, but just wondering the way he enjoyed his jumping the other day. Now, that wasn't against Champion Chase horses, you see, that's the other side of that coin, but that'll be for whoever rides him, probably Ruby, all being well. And really only that decision is going to be made about, I'd say, 5 seconds before the tapes go up. And
if you had your way, it'd be 5 seconds after the tape.
Well, yeah, well, Ruby will be riding. He knows the horse inside out, so he'll make that decision. You know, it depends. He'll have an idea what might make the running, what mightn't make the running, and he'll make that decision down the start.
And finally, we can't let you go without discussing the bumper.
Right.
You've a hell of a record in it, and you're
been good to me. Yeah.
And you're going to have a big team.
I think so. Looking at it, if I can remember them, Bordini has done nothing wrong, been everything right at home. He's the horse I have great time for. A horse called Pile on the Pressure won his first bumper in Thurles, beating probably very little, and we wondered. And then I brought him away for a bit of work one day, and he did a fantastic bit of work. And I decided to run him in Naas. I mean, he beat a very good horse of mine at home, and he absolutely sluiced up in a good winner's bumper in Naas. That's very good form. Then a horse called Up for Review won easily at Christmas. He might run again this weekend. I think he's very good. Live, Love, Laugh won well. Stone Hard won well and won his winners nicely. Okakta Tour, everyone seems to have been very taken with in Fairyhouse. He won nicely. I hope he'll improve. I find it funny that a couple of other horses I mentioned are not ahead of him in the betting, but you know, people see different things than we do at the races, and maybe they hear different stories, but he's good enough certainly to go there.
Your winners of the race haven't always been the sort of shorter priced ones, you know, you've had a few surprises in it as well, but at this stage, if you were to sort of pick out one? Well,
you know, you see it's an away game for us. The horses travel over and they're all very young with little experience, and some of them just don't take the travelling, don't take the overnight, don't take the hullabaloo before the start of the race. To me, the horse that's answered all the questions every time I ask, it's been Bordini.
You're likely to have your biggest ever festival team this year, around sort of 50 maybe going to the meeting.
Yeah, it looks like that, yeah.
And if I was to ask you what horse you'd pick out as your sort of best chance, I know you'll have plenty of horses with big chances.
I suppose probably Any Power in the Mare's Hurl would look the best at this point, and she's doing everything right at home. She needs to keep doing everything right, but you know, going on a straight form thing, you'd have to say she would have the best chance.